And and this is, again, back in the day when you'd say you did martial arts, and most people just assume it's kind of karate, taekwondo, there are obviously people practicing those martial arts that are badass fighters and implement it really well. I mean, Wonder Boy, for example, is like one of the best examples. But the majority of people who practice it's not exactly what I wanted. It's more of like the sort of like practicing the katas, and I think there is value in that. But I wanted that kind of gritty grappling experience, and so he kind of made it seem cool in my eyes immediately and got me hooked. And now I think with all the other people doing this in MMA, kind of more people are kind of viewing it through that lens, which I like. I mean, it's both. It's yeah, it just kind of depends who you are, but that definitely appeals to a certain type of crowd.
Very true. I mean, you already mentioned you're competing in jiu-jitsu now as well. How far into your journey are you with jiu-jitsu, and what made you fully, try it and get into jiu-jitsu?
Well, so I've been doing it now for 2 years. I stopped doing judo in retired, whatever you want to call it, 2014, and I went to medical school and residency, and those I essentially had a 6-year hiatus off the mat where I wasn't grappling in any capacity. I was just kind of toiling away in the hospital, working behind a computer. And so I then emerged and on the other side wanted to get this super important part of my life back and fill the void that I kind of hoped, I guess, in some capacity medicine would fill, but never really did. I mean, I think once you get involved in martial arts, seriously, that is just it has its hooks in you, And so I got back, and I had spent so long and so many hours in judo, like learning and competing, and after a while, it kind of the sort of what you can learn and the new things that you can start to implement, the curve starts to plateau. And I was only doing gi stuff. And so one of the things that I really liked about no gi and jiu-jitsu when I first wanted to get back on the mat is just everything was like that curve of like learning new things and getting better was so steep. And it was so different, and I liked that. And I also felt that, well, I don't think I still don't really think that there's a lot of people kind of trying to figure out what is the best way to implement judo in no-gi. And you have some people doing it, like Justin Flores is a good example, and Cairo, obviously, back in the day. But there aren't a lot, and so it's, I think, kind of unexplored territory to kind of try to venture out and figure out, and I like that, and I felt that, well, it's satisfying for me to try to do this, but also I can kind of give back and try to advance the field of no-gi grappling through viewing it through the lens of judo. What works, what doesn't, what grips are effective, what throws are a waste of time, which ones should you focus on. That was appealing to me to kind of contribute and give back, and now with my Instagram, doing that, I kind of want to be able to kind of reach out and allow the people that were in young Austin's position, watching it, grappling, obsessed with it, learning the vast majority of what they know just by watching and trying to copy people and videos they see online. I wanted to be able to kind of give back to those people. It's given a lot to me, martial arts, and I want to be able to sort of pay it back. And so that's sort of kind of how I feel about it.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, you're just kind of mentioning a little bit as well. You seem to be trying to fuse your knowledge of both judo and jiu-jitsu. Can you explain to us how you thought to do this, and what have you learned, I guess, more about each martial art while fusing the two?
Yeah. So let's see. When anybody starts like in any grappling, but let's say like jiu-jitsu, and they come in from either wrestling or judo, there's certain things that they're going to be really good at and certain things that they're going to be very susceptible to. And so with both of those sports, like leg locks, for example. With judo, I was familiar with some of the like arm bars and uh, chokes, sort of sweeps, but the leg locks are completely foreign. And certain submissions that I had worked very well, and certain ones didn't. For example, we move in judo. It's like a triangle from the front. We call it sankaku. That worked really well. Certain pins worked really well. So immediately I kind of had these things that I could catch like black belts with on day one. But I also, if a good like blue or purple belt got my leg and heel hooked me, I would have no idea what's going on. And it was, something about that was interesting. Like, oh wow, so there is this potential here to implement judo really effectively, not knowing any jiu-jitsu. I just got to figure out what it is about, what aspects of judo work. And so like the triangle I mentioned, another portion is this sort of, in judo, you don't have much time to make something happen on the ground. So a lot of the submissions are kind of caught in transition from a throw. And in jiu-jitsu, you don't really have as much experience in that sort of transition state from the mat to the ground. There's some, but not as much in judo. And so I kind of realized, oh wow, this is a huge opportunity to catch jiu-jitsu guys, is when I'm throwing and already kind of putting myself into a position to lock up a submission before they have time to settle. And those are the two things that I kind of first found, like that you could immediately apply. And now it's been, well, what takedowns, what throws work, what is the juice worth the squeeze in terms of, like, is drop seinogi like worth it in nogi? I don't think so. Because if it messes up, the guy has your back and can submit you. Whereas the leg throws, like Uchimata, Osoto, where kind of intertwining your leg in your opponents and trying to throw them, are very safe and also unorthodox. I mean, at most gyms you have good wrestlers, and so everyone is pretty well equipped in jiu-jitsu. Everyone knows how to sprawl. Everyone kind of knows that game plan, but not everybody has a good judoka to kind of, especially in nogi. And so, I'm kind of navigating that right now. But each day I learn something new, and I wish I had the sort of ground game when I was competing in judo that I now do, that I learned from jiu-jitsu. I feel like I really missed a big opportunity not to get involved earlier with it, because I probably would have won a lot of matches that I didn't, because where there was probably an easy submission that I just didn't see. That's the big takeaway, is just if I would have had access to like a wrestling club, I would have done that. I think just the more grappling that you can do in the most amount, like most diverse way possible, I think that is really the secret, because you can always learn something and you can always figure out a way to apply it regardless of what exactly combat sport you're in.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I am sorry that you didn't get into it earlier, but it is good now that you're seeing that, how much knowing one can really help more with the other, and vice versa. And so, this journey is probably even more challenging and at the same time rewarding for you, because you are seeing, different light bulb moments are happening for you where you're learning this move or this transition, and you're like, well, shit, if I would have known this, however many years ago, everything could have been completely different.
What's your sort of background in grappling? Do you do jiu-jitsu, or I know you're obviously an MMA fan, but
yeah. So I'm a fan, and I would obviously love to learn to train more. And I did one jiu-jitsu class, and it was awesome. And still about a week after the fact, I was like still feeling it, and I would love to do more. It was just, I think the timing wasn't right, and like the money for me wasn't right for what the school was holding. But in the future, once I get everything, leveled out, I would love to get back into learning that. And even there was somebody who even taught me, in my first class, he said, embrace the suck, because, you're going to not be good for a long time, and you're going to get your ass whooped for a long time. But if you're paying attention and you're looking at what other people are doing, you're picking up little things, and so you're not going to be as, somebody's not going to take your back as easily or get you down as easily or, get you, tapping out as quickly. So, I would, like I said, I would love to go back and learn, or in the future, I would love to learn more, but I just, appreciate the sport and all the different martial arts that go into it in general that, I'm not just, one of those casual fans that are like, stand and bang, that don't get on the ground. That's boring.
Definitely. Yeah. No, for real. Yeah. Just the fact that just having gone to, even if it was just one class, and just the willingness to go out there and learn, I feel like that gives you more of an appreciation of mixed martial arts than, like you said, the guy who's never done that, never even kind of overcome that first activation energy to kind of get out there. Yeah, that's really cool. Hope you get back into it though. I feel like it's never too late.
It's very true. It's never too late. It's just, I need to, get everything leveled out to where I can actually make the time and the money work for, learning the sport.
I was off the mat for 6 years after it was like, and that was never what I wanted to happen. And so I feel like, anybody can, get back into it.
No, it's true. I mean, you hear so many stories about, people in their 40s, 50s. I mean, I even saw one recently about an 80 or 90-year-old grandma that was learning jiu-jitsu for the first time, and they love it. And it is that learning any martial art, because I took Taekwondo when I was a kid, so learning a discipline like that, at an early age or even any time in life can really change everything else in life, because it does go back to what that person told me: embrace the suck. I mean, you are going to be, a novice at some point, and there's always going to be someone better than you. Like I've also heard that once you get your black belt, great, you got your black belt, but now you're the least experienced black belt out there, and so you have to continue to learn and learn more, and just you're never going to be perfect at it, and you're never going to know everything about it, because there's always somebody out there that knows better than you, or knows maybe. Go ahead.
Oh, no, we're sorry. Finish your thought.
I was just going to say, and they're just going to know one little extra trick that, you maybe not have thought of, and you're like, well, damn, now I learned something today, which is always good.
Yeah.
I always think people need to continue to learn in life, no matter what field or what they're doing in life in general.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, is like this embrace the suck. I mean, there's always going to be someone out there better at anything. Whatever you're doing, there's going to be somebody out there that's better. And I think that the thing that's nice about jiu-jitsu is like you get put into a very stressful situation where you're getting essentially like beat up, and when you're tapping, almost like an admission, like, oh, you could have killed me there, and it can be stressful. I'm so desensitized to that now. But it forces you to like really develop these skills to think on the fly, under stress, come up with a game plan immediately, and then as your sort of short-term plan, and then when you go home driving or whatever, like doing some research and kind of getting a more kind of robust long-term strategy. And I mean, that's just life, right? And so it can be anything. And with the learning, absolutely. I mean, I still learn things from guys, girls starting out in their first class. I feel like one of the things that has made me contributed to like advancing and building my skills is never shutting off your brain and discounting it, because you can always learn something from someone moved in a way that you didn't realize before. And so you can either view it as, oh, that's a setup that people may be susceptible to if this person just did that. And like, sometimes somebody new, like they don't have that kind of burden of like, this is the traditional way you do things. And so they'll do something, and then you can kind of look at that and go, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Let me try this. Like all the time, man. I feel like it's just, you get good at this stuff because you implement skills that serve you well in the real world,
Yeah, it's so true. And I mean, most people who don't do anything of that sort maybe don't think about how it could affect, the rest of their life or the way they are making decisions, because, they're like, well, that's that, and this is this. Why would that affect